Glasgow, Scotland 1980 seconds, a city of shipyards, red brick tenements, working class families, and a quiet suburban rhythm that rarely made international headlines. Yet behind the chimes of ice cream vans rolling through the streets of Easterhouse, Rukazi, and Ballinlough, something sinister lurked. To most children, these vans meant treats, smiles, and sweets, but to the men driving them, they had become tools of power, drug distribution, extortion, and territorial warfare. What began as a simple business, rivalry over selling ice cream, snacks soon escalated into a brutal criminal feud, and by the time the dust settled, 6 members of the Doyle family were dead. Scotland would never forget the tragedy that followed, and the truth behind it remains debated even today. Before we dive into this chilling story, make sure to subscribe to Crimes Through Time if you enjoy deep dive true crime documentaries. Hit the like button, it helps others discover these forgotten tragedies. Now, let's roll back to Glasgow's darkest turf war, the Ice Cream Wars. Glasgow in the 1980s was suffering, unemployment was high, and families struggled to make ends meet as industries collapsed. Many neighborhoods had become hostile environments, where gangs controlled corners and petty crime was woven into daily life. It was in this climate that ice cream vans became more than kid-friendly food trucks. They were mobile storefronts, cash only, constantly moving, and able to disappear quickly if trouble arrived. The perfect cover for small-scale crime. At first, drivers competed for customers like any normal business. But then came the high-profit items, stolen goods, cigarettes, alcohol, and eventually, drugs. Selling a cone made a few pennies. Selling illicit items made pounds. Before long, routes became territories, and territories meant power. What began as playful jingles soon became the soundtrack of fear. Drivers who tried to work honestly found their routes taken over or blocked. Rival criminals threatened them, smashed windscreens, or followed them through neighborhoods. When intimidation didn't work, violence followed. But the Doyles, a well-liked, hard-working family, refused to be pressured. Jean and Tony Doyle, along with their children, were respected in the community. Their son, Andrew "Fat Boy" Doyle, drove one of the vans. He was known for being friendly, dependable, and unwilling to get involved with criminal dealings. He refused to cooperate with drug-running gangs, and in Glasgow at the time, saying no often had consequences. Andrew had been receiving threats for months. It started small: slashed tires, broken windows, whispered warnings. Rival vendors accused him of stealing routes, but what they really wanted was access to his van for illegal distribution. When he refused, the intimidation escalated. In February 1984, Andrew's van was shot during one of his deliveries. Miraculously, he wasn't hurt, but the message was unmistakable: back down, or something worse would come. Andrew stayed the course. His family supported him, and the community admired him for refusing to be bullied. But the gangs behind the ice cream wars had no intention of letting the situation go. On April 16, 1984, everything changed. Around a.m., while the Doyle family slept in their small council house at 16 Bankin Street in Rukazi, someone approached their front door carrying a canister of petrol. The attacker poured the fuel through the letterbox, stepped back, and lit a match. The house exploded into flames. Inside were 6 members of the Doyle family: 53-year-old James Doyle, 50-year-old Christy, their sons James Jr., Tony, and Andrew, and 18-year-old Christina Cathy Harler, a friend staying the night. Only one person survived, the family's youngest daughter, who escaped through a window. The rest were trapped. The fire spread too fast. Neighbors tried desperately to save them, but by the time firefighters arrived, the house was engulfed. Glasgow woke up to one of the worst mass murders in Scottish history. The public demanded justice. The media demanded answers. Politicians called it a national emergency. Police quickly focused on 2 men: Thomas Tia Campbell and Joseph Steele, both known troublemakers involved in the ice cream route turf conflict. Authorities claimed Campbell had threatened the Doyles earlier. He had openly declared he would burn their house down. Witnesses connected Steele to Campbell's activities. A key witness, William Love, testified he heard Campbell make threats. Motives, opportunity, and circumstantial evidence all seemed to point to Campbell and Steele. The trial moved rapidly. In 1984, both men were found guilty of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. The public cheered the verdict. Newspapers called it justice. Politicians praised the police. But over time, doubts started to grow. Many felt the investigation was rushed, sloppy, and politically motivated. The tragedy had embarrassed Glasgow, and someone had to take the fall. People began to question: was the evidence strong enough? Was the testimony of witnesses reliable? Did police suppress contradictory information? And most importantly, were Campbell and Steele truly guilty? Throughout their imprisonment, both men maintained their innocence, not quietly, loudly, publicly, and relentlessly. Steele went on multiple hunger strikes. Campbell accused detectives of framing him. Supporters formed committees. Journalists reopened the case. Pieces of the story didn't add up. The key witness, William Love, later admitted to lying under police pressure. Other witnesses contradicted earlier statements, and there was never any forensic evidence tying the men to the fire. Slowly, the Ice Cream Wars case shifted from a closed chapter to one of Scotland's most controversial convictions. In the 1990s and early 2000s, repeated attempts were made to appeal the convictions. At first, they were rejected, until new legislation allowed the case to be sent to the Scottish Criminal Cases Review Commission. After years of review, the commission found police testimony appeared unreliable, evidence had been mishandled, witness statements were inconsistent. The original trial may have been unfair. In 2004, after 20 years behind bars, their convictions were quashed. Campbell and Steele walked free, but with no definitive alternative suspect. The murders remained officially unsolved. The truth behind the Glasgow Ice Cream Wars is murky, disputed, and still deeply emotional in Scotland. Theory 1. Campbell and Steele did commit the crime. Supporters of this theory point to their criminal records, their presence in the turf conflict, and past threats. Even with unreliable witnesses, many Glaswegians believe they were involved. Theory 2. The crime was committed by someone else in the ice cream gang scene. Underworld rivalries at the time involved dangerous individuals. Some believe a different gang torched the house, then vanished without a trace. Theory 3. The fire was ordered by a dealer who never faced justice. Some allege a larger drug operation protected the real perpetrators. Theory 4. Police desperation for quick results led to wrongful convictions. The tragedy shocked the nation. The pressure was intense. Some believe the police simply targeted familiar troublemakers to close the case. To this day, the ice cream was remain a national tragedy, a painful example of how small disputes can escalate into mass murder. One of the most controversial miscarriages of justice in Scottish history. The Doyle family never received true justice. Campbell and Steele never received full vindication. The truth hides somewhere between fear, silence, and the lost voices of the past. The sound of an ice cream van, once joyful, became a ghostly reminder of the night Glasgow burned. If you found this deep dive into the Glasgow Ice Cream Wars chilling and insightful, don't forget to subscribe to Crimes Through Time. Hit the like button to support the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss a daily documentary. And tell me in the comments, do you believe Campbell and Steele were guilty or victims of a rushed investigation?